From the moment a child takes their first breath, society begins to decide who they are allowed to be. Before they speak their first word or take their first step, invisible rules are already written for them. Blue or pink, strong or soft, accepted or rejected. For most people, these rules are uncomfortable but manageable. For some, they become a lifelong sentence. This is the story of those who were born transgender and treated as if their existence itself was a crime. Not because they hurt anyone, not because they chose violence or wrongdoing, but simply because they dared to exist as themselves. Across streets filled with noise and homes filled with silence, transgender people learn early that the world is not built for them. Their earliest memories are often not of toys or laughter, but of confusion, fear, and quiet observation. They learn to watch themselves, to correct their voice, to hide their gestures, to shrink their truth so it fits into spaces that were never meant to hold them. Many transgender children grow up hearing the same message in different forms. Don't act like that. That's not normal. People will talk. You're bringing shame. And slowly, a child begins to believe that who they are is something dangerous. School becomes the first courtroom. Classrooms that should offer safety turn into places of judgment. Whispers follow them down hallways. Laughter erupts when they speak. Teachers look away, unsure or unwilling to intervene. Forms demand boxes that do not fit. Bathrooms become battlefields of fear. Every day is a test of survival rather than learning. Some children stop raising their hands. Some stop attending school. Some stop speaking altogether. Education, which should be a bridge to opportunity, becomes another door slammed shut. At home, the story is often no kinder. Families, pressured by tradition, religion, or social expectations, struggle to understand what they do not recognize. Love becomes conditional. Support becomes silence. In some homes, identity is treated as rebellion. In others, as illness. In the worst cases, as something that must be punished out of existence. Transgender individuals are told they are embarrassing their families, that they are destroying reputations, that they are selfish for wanting to live honestly. They are asked to choose between truth and belonging. An impossible choice no one should ever have to make. When family rejection occurs, it leaves scars that cannot be seen. Loneliness settles deep into the bones. The world becomes colder. Survival becomes heavier. As adulthood approaches, the injustice only grows more visible. Finding a job becomes a test of conformity. Interviews end the moment identity becomes apparent. Resumes are ignored. Skills are dismissed. Talent is overshadowed by prejudice. Many transgender people are locked out of formal employment, not because they lack ability, but because society refuses to see them as worthy. Without stable income, many are pushed toward unsafe work, unstable housing, and constant uncertainty. Poverty is not a choice, it is the consequence of exclusion. Healthcare, something essential to human dignity, is often denied or made humiliating. Doctors stare instead of listening. Forms refuse to acknowledge reality. Medical staff ask invasive questions unrelated to treatment. Some transgender people avoid hospitals altogether, choosing pain over humiliation, illness over judgment. Mental health struggles rise quietly. Depression, anxiety, and trauma become constant companions. Not because of being transgender, but because of how the world treats transgender people. Yet even in pain there is resilience. Transgender individuals learn to build families of choice when families of birth fall apart. They find community in shared understanding. They learn each other's names, stories, and survival techniques. They protect one another in ways the world never did. Still, society often sees only stereotypes. Media reduces transgender lives to headlines or controversy. Political debates turn real human beings into talking points. Laws are written without listening to the people they affect. Identity becomes something to regulate, restrict, or erase. In many places, simply existing as transgender invites harassment. On the street, strangers stare, mock, or threaten. Safety is never guaranteed. A walk home becomes a calculation of risk. Public spaces feel hostile. Silence becomes a shield. Being transgender should never be a crime, but it is often treated as one. Transgender people are questioned for using public spaces. Their documents are challenged. Their appearance is policed. Their relationships are scrutinized. Their right to live freely is constantly negotiated. And yet, despite all of this, they continue. They continue to wake up every morning in a world that questions their existence. They continue to search for dignity in systems designed to deny it. They continue to hope, even when hope feels fragile. There are transgender individuals who become artists, teachers, activists, caregivers, and leaders, not because the world made it easy, but because they refuse to disappear. Their success is not a privilege. It is an act of resistance. Progress exists, but it is uneven. Acceptance in one place does not erase danger in another. A law passed does not heal a lifetime of harm. Representation does not guarantee respect. What transgender people ask for is not special treatment. They ask for safety, for opportunity, for healthcare without judgment, for education without fear, for work without discrimination, for families without conditions. They ask for what everyone deserves: the right to exist without punishment. A society is measured not by how it treats the powerful, but by how it treats those it marginalizes. When transgender lives are dismissed, ignored, or attacked, it reflects not their worth, but society's failure. Being born transgender is not a mistake. It is not a rebellion. It is not a crime. The real injustice lies in a world that punishes honesty and rewards conformity. Change begins when stories are heard instead of silenced, when empathy replaces fear, when people choose to listen rather than judge. Awareness does not fix everything, but it opens the door to humanity. Until that day fully arrives, transgender individuals will continue to live between courage and caution, hope and heartbreak. Not because they want it, but because they must. And still they endure. They exist. They resist. They matter.